Hey guys, we're here with Abbey Chamberlain and her husband Jason, coaches at oh shit. God, I'm messing up. Fresno State. Is it Fresno State University?
It's Fresno State University, but Fresno State there's only one of them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Hey guys, we're here with Abbey Chamberlain and her husband Jason, coaches at Fresno State. Okay, Abbey, so can you tell me how you and Jason met?
Yes. Well, it's interesting. Jason and I have known each other since we were 7 years old.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both from Utah, and I think it goes into kind of my wrestling background. My dad was a coach, and my brothers all wrestled. Well, my brother wrestled. And, yeah, we always kind of were around each other, and he wrestled my cousin, and I had the biggest crush on him, and I loved him, and I kind of would follow him and my cousin around like a little puppy dog, and they'd be like, you want to play catch? And I'm like, yes, please. Like, I'd love to. And he actually didn't remember me. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, I knew who you were, but he didn't pay any attention to me. He wasn't into girls, like, at all. It was strictly wrestling. And we grew up, and we kind of had similar friends, and we didn't really ever hang out or mingle outside of wrestling. And then, yeah, we've known each other forever. It's just been, I have videos and pictures of him, like, from vacations, wrestling vacations, of course, with my family.
I love that. So did you guys do wrestling vacations around, like, national tournaments and stuff?
Yes. I 100%. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, we went to Tulsa, and we drove to Tulsa, and we stopped and did, like, things on our way there. That was vacation. And
yep. I understand that completely. That's how it was in my family as well. So I know you guys have known each other since you were 7, but what was your first official date like?
So I asked him. We didn't have any. We were the very millennial part of us. I had this boyfriend that I was dating. We broke up, and we had a mutual friend of our parents say, you two should hang out. You two should, get together. So I added him on Facebook, and I'm like, hey. And he's like, well, sorry, I'm already going to college. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I said, well, like, if you come back, like, let's meet up and whatever. And then we just kind of became, like, social media friends where we would like each other's stuff and comment on each other's stuff. And then he ended up getting a girlfriend in college, like, right off the bat. And I was like, oh, dang, but okay. And then they broke up, and I knew they broke up because he started to, like, comment on my stuff again. And I was like, oh, all right. And then I don't know. We didn't really have a date. It's just we met up at Wendy's, and we were together. It was just kind of instant. And I hated it because I decided at that point in my life I was never going to get married. And I just wanted to be single, and that was it. And so I made him promise not to tell anybody for like 6 months. I'm like, let's just not tell people we're dating. Like, our close friends knew, and my dad knew because he figured out I was driving from Utah to Boise almost every weekend. And he was like, oh, just be safe. Okay. So that was kind of that. We just, and then when we started to tell people, everyone was like, yeah, that makes sense. The two of you. Mm-hmm.
It was like people already knew.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, well, you guys hang out a lot, and you're always talking about each other. So, yeah.
I love it. I love how everybody else kind of knew y'all's relationship made sense before you guys even got into a relationship.
The funny thing was everybody knew, and my brother and my dad invited him to Thanksgiving dinner with us. And for some reason, my mom was like, "What are you talking about? Jason Chamberlain? We haven't seen him since he was in high school. Like, what?" And my dad was like, "Yeah, they're a thing." And my mom was so blind. It totally shocked her. And she was like, "Since when?" And yeah, it was hilarious.
That is awesome. I love it. What a cool story, though, to be able to tell your kids when they get older to understand.
I know. Our daughter is
awesome.
8 right now, and she has a crush on a boy, and I'm always like, "Oh my gosh, what if she falls in love?" And Jason's like, "Calm down."
I love it. I love it. I love it. So what was it like for you growing up, just being submerged in the wrestling culture?
I really never knew anything else. So my dad wrestled in high school, and then he went to Utah State and wrestled for a little bit. And then he coached. He was a high school coach. And it was my whole life. It just was what it was. I didn't – my mom was very involved in it. And, you know, of course, my family was all involved. And so kind of growing up on wrestling mats was just normal for me. And having a bunch of boys at our house was normal. And I still to this day talk to a majority of my dad's wrestlers. They're like my older brothers, and I love them. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I didn't know anything else. Like, wrestling was life. And I'm like, okay.
That's so special. I love that. Not very few people grow up around wrestling in that way. And so I think that it was kind of meant to be that you and Jason ended up together, because you probably wouldn't know how to deal with marrying to a baseball player or a football player.
I always would say, like, I'm not marrying a wrestler. I'm going to find something else. I'm going to like a new sport. And, you know, our family did do other sports. My sister was a fantastic softball player, and I played softball and ran, and we did all these other things, but it was wrestling was our main stuff. I mean, I remember just missing things. Like, I think I had a softball game, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss it. We're going to be out of town for wrestling. And it was just, and I didn't mind. I had wrestling friends. I made friends with, like, the sisters of teammates or my dad's guys, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun for me. I loved it.
I love that. That is truly a beautiful story. So what was one of your favorite moments for you watching Jason compete?
I have, I think, two. Well, I have so many, but I think the first time the All-Americans, it was actually, so a little background, Jason and I, we got engaged really young. We were 19. And people weren't totally for that. They thought we were crazy. They were like, calm down. And so we ended up eloping, and it was just kind of us. And then we had Violet, like, right after. And so the year Violet was born, Jason All-American. So she came to us February 24th, and then he went to NCAA's in March. And people were like, you just got married, you had a baby, this isn't going to be a good year. And he was ranked seeded sixth at the tournament. And he ended up beating the number 3 seed. And it was a crazy match. And I didn't go. I stayed home with the baby. And
well, yeah, you had a newborn.
Yeah, I wasn't about to take her. You know, my second baby, I did take places a little early, but I was so excited. It was just kind of this thing for both of us where we both were kind of like, we did it. Like, you All-American, but look at us. Like, we're young, we have this new baby, and we made it work. And it was so exciting for the both of us that, I don't know, it was nice because he told me we did it, and it was so fun. And then I guess my other one would be when he won the U.S. Open in 2018. And my kids don't understand it at all, but when they grow up, they're going to be like, oh, we got to watch that. And that was really special because they were both there. So
that is awesome. I love how one of the first things he said to you was that we did it after the All-American. That just is a testament to how much teamwork it genuinely takes to accomplish these hard goals. And I think it's awesome that you guys proved to everybody wrong, that you couldn't do it that young, and look at you guys now. That's beautiful.
I know. Thank you.
Okay, so
it's good.
I love it. So with that being said, what was one of the hardest moments for you to watch Jason go through as a significant other?
Oh, this is easy. Losing in the national finals his senior year.
Yeah.
Runner-up. Oh, I cried so hard when he lost. And it was so hard. That whole scenario was so hard. Jordan Oliver is actually somebody we really like. And we wrestled him and we lost. It was 3-2. And it was his senior year, and I remember standing up after the match, and I went straight to the bathroom. And as I was walking, I just started bawling. And some random Wyoming wrestling family saw me, and I was in my Chambo shirt, and they gave me a hug because I was just not holding it together. And when Jason found me, I was more upset, I think, than he was. I was bawling, and he was just like, I'm sorry. I was like, you're sorry. You did the best, you're fine. I was so disappointed and so brokenhearted, and it was so hard. And then he, at the tournament, I don't think it hit him. And then when we got home, he was just, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, okay. And then he'd bring it up every conversation. And I'd be like, okay, what do you want to do? What, and I just listen. But it went on for a year, maybe two. We went to NCAA the next year. It stung him because he was just watching, and he was like, this hurts. I don't know if I can watch these. And it was hard. It was hard on him for a long time, and it just broke my heart. It was devastating.
I can understand that. So what was your routine to cope with that stress? How did you handle all of that?
Lucky for us, we had a huge distraction and had our daughter Violet. And we just of course, what wrestlers want to do is they want to just dive back in there. And, of course, it's a freestyle season right after that. So he kind of did that. And it actually wasn't good. He ended up getting hurt. And so it kind of made things worse. And he hurt his rotator cuff, I think is what it was. And he had to have surgery.
Oh, no.
So, I know. So he was kind of just down and out of wrestling, which I think kind of helped a little bit. But, I don't know. I think that my husband's actually walking in the door, which I don't know why. Oh, hi. Sorry.
So you're good.
But we had a distraction with Violet, and we just kind of did family things for a little bit, and I think just kind of reminded him that, yes, that was devastating, but we are here, and we have a healthy, beautiful little baby, and, there are other things. There are things that are still happy, even though we lost that. So.
Absolutely. Trying to stay positive.
Yes.
I can relate to that. So how was the transition for Jason leaving Nebraska and going to Fresno State?
Well, so he actually went to school at Boise State, and then we not transferred. He went to Boise State, and then after he graduated Boise State, he went to Nebraska and did freestyle, and he trained for the Olympics there. So and then from Nebraska to Fresno, it's been cool because every level we've been at has been in a different place. So college years was all done at Boise. and it was like, we're still very, very connected with our Boise State. We call them our Boise State family. And we still talk to one another, and it's still great. That was actually really hard to leave, letting Jason's coaches know that we're going to go to Nebraska. And then when we went to Nebraska, it was strictly freestyle. And he was training for the Olympics in Nebraska. And we were just kind of at a different level then. Mm-hmm. And then it was mostly just, we were supposed to be there through 2016. And we did that, and it was kind of like, all right, that was still in the plan the whole time. What are we going to do next? And we really didn't know. And he had a lot of offers after college for coaching, but he wasn't ready. Like, he wanted to compete. And so we turned him down, and then we didn't get any for a little bit, and he was concerned. He's like, oh, no, I turned all these people down. Now I'm not going to get this chance that I actually want. And, yeah, so we left Nebraska, and we didn't really have a plan. We just left, and we went back to Utah, to our home state, and we weren't doing anything. Jason actually ended up working with my brother-in-law. He does tile for pools. Mm-hmm. And my brother-in-law was like, yeah, come work with me. And that's what he was doing for a summer. And he didn't wrestle at all. He didn't do anything. And we just kind of were figuring out our next step when Boise State started to rehire. They were going to rehire a coach, and Jason was like, well, Boise State is my alum. Maybe I should try to figure out something there. And as we were trying to go through things with Boise, Fresno State had Troy Steiner here, they reinstated the program, and Jason's Boise State coach was like, you know what, you need to call Troy. You need to call Troy Steiner, and you need to talk to him about Fresno. And Jason was kind of like, no, I want to be at Boise State. And then we talked it over, and he was like, yeah, I think Fresno State's the better plan for me. It's this new program, and he was really excited. And he's like, I want to be involved, and I want to help build this. And so he got the job here, and he ended up moving here without us for 10 months. I stayed in Utah because we were right in the middle of school year for our daughter. And so I stayed and lived with my mom, and he moved to Fresno without us to like kind of find us a spot and get us settled. And yeah, that's what we did.
Wow, that's awesome. I love how that kind of worked out for you guys. So what differences did you notice in Jason transitioning from an athlete to a coach?
So many. I think I started to notice it in Nebraska because he started to coach high school kids while we were there, just earning extra money doing like one-on-one sessions, and then he loved it. And he became more active in the college guys' lives. There was like one guy, especially Anthony Abbey, who he just poured everything he could into helping him. And I could tell immediately. I was like, okay, because his plan was PA school. And after we were in Nebraska, one day I said to him, so PA school is probably not happening, right? And he was like, no, I'm not going. I was okay, all right. And then, yeah, when he got here and he was coaching, it was just this whole other love that he has, because sometimes when you're at the senior level, wrestling can start to be a job, you know? It's like stressful. There's high stress. Yeah. It's a job. And I think for him, coaching has been fun and fulfilling in other ways he didn't know. He loves it. He loves, like, using his wrestling knowledge, and it's been nice to see that. I tell him not everybody gets to do what they said they wanted to do when they were, a little kid. And that was, he wanted to be a college coach when he was a little kid. And I'm like, cool. Good for you.
That's awesome. I love that. And I kind of like how he took the transition in strides like that, and you were able to see all that growth. That really, I can imagine, was a beautiful thing to witness.
So it was. He'd come home and he'd talk about the high school kids, and he'd be so excited, and I'd be like, yeah, cool. And he'd be like, you want to go watch them? And he'd go, and watch them at tournaments, and he'd watch film, and I could just tell. I'm like, oh, he loves this. Yep, this is going to happen. He loves this so much. So I kind of knew it was coming.
I love it. I love it. So do you like Fresno, California?
Oh, I love it. I love Fresno. First of all, it's hard. I loved every place we've lived so far, except for Nebraska's weather is I can't. I don't like living in places where the air hurts my face. It's so cold.
I can relate.
Right? Yeah, the freezing rain, I didn't know that happened there. So I experienced some of that, and then we moved to Fresno, and it's beautiful. We're 2.5 hours from the Yosemite Mountains, and then 2.5 hours from a beach.
You get the best of both worlds.
Exactly. The weather's always beautiful. It gets really hot, and then for the winter time, it's like fall all year, and I love it. It just, I don't know. And the people are wonderful here, and where we are, Central Valley, they love wrestling. Like I was surprised. It's a huge wrestling town. People love it. And so we got here, and we'd be wearing our Fresno State wrestling shirts or T-shirts, and we actually had somebody stop us at the store once, and they were like, Fresno State, like, yes, welcome back. And they were so excited that wrestling was back at Fresno State, and I was shocked. I was like, oh, weird, but it's been so nice. We love it here. I keep saying, oh no, like I've grown accustomed to the California lifestyle. I don't know if I could live anywhere else. I'm worried.
I don't blame you, because from the way you describe it, it sounds like amazing.
It is, and I was a little bit scared. I'm from a small town in Utah, and then we've lived in small towns like Boise, Idaho, and Lincoln, Nebraska, where everyone's like, you're moving to Fresno, it's a huge city, and I was scared. And we got here, and the area that we live is so not city. It's very country living, and I mean, there's times that I get tractors that are like pulling around by me, and I was like, this is not what I was expecting. I thought I was going to be very city, and it just isn't.
I love that. I love that you also said the town is just very centered around wrestling culture. You wouldn't expect that when you hear the word California, but I love how everybody gets excited when they see you guys out and you're wearing your Fresno State gear.
Yeah, it's really special. I always am like, this is what it must feel like to be in one of the football towns, like the small football towns in Texas that really care. I'm like, that's what it feels like here, is that they love wrestling, and it's so exciting.
That is amazing. I love it. What a special town. So y'all have 2 daughters. How do you handle being a coach's wife and a mom?
Oh, honestly, sometimes I cry a lot because it's so stressful. But I don't know. I guess I allow myself to have those bad days where I feel overwhelmed or I feel frustrated. and I acknowledge it, and then I kind of just put on my big girl pants and I push forward and I just continue, I don't know, to just do it. I think a lot of what I try to do is I be Jason's wife and the girl's mom, but I also try to make time to be myself, where I can get out and go get a facial or get my lashes done or something like that. I've kind of gotten lost a couple of times where I've just become the mom and the wife, and I'm just going back and forth, and I get really kind of drained, where I'm like, oh, I need some me time too. I have to remember that my self-care is as important as taking care of my kids and being there for Jason. So I try to balance, I guess, all three, and sometimes somebody gets a little bit more extra love, but mostly I really just try to be there. If Jason needs me, we're there. If the kids need me, I'm there. And sometimes it's giving up, I guess, the other thing. There's been times where we've missed wrestling because our daughter now, our oldest daughter, she does cheerleading. And I'm like, sorry, we have cheer practice. I have to go to this. Or our youngest one does soccer. We have soccer. We can't come. And sometimes I gather up my kids and I'm like, all right, let's go to wrestling. And we're at wrestling all day long. And yeah, and sometimes I'll just say, no, we're gonna stay home because that's what mom needs. Mom needs just time to be at home. So I don't know. I just, like I said, I try to balance, which is hard and it's not easy, but for my own self, I need to do that. I need to make sure I kind of have that under control, even just for myself. I don't know if that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense. And I really love the insight, how you said that you have to make sure that you're giving yourself some self-love and self-care. It gives me a great insight because you can't be the best mom that you can be or the best wife that you can be if you're not taking care of yourself and giving yourself some TLC as well.
Exactly. And you need to feel your best so that you can be the best for what you need to be doing. And I guess that's even in wrestling too. You need to feel your best to be the best. You can't, you're not going to perform well if you don't feel good.
You're so correct about that. So with that being said, if you could go back before your relationship, like your dating relationship, I should say, began with Jason and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Okay. I'm not sure because I'm kind of one of those believers in like everything happens for a reason and just go with the flow. I think that I probably tell myself to maybe be a little less mouthy. I was a little bit of a firecracker in the beginning of Jason's, like when I was with him in his wrestling career. And actually, your husband could probably like confirm this, and Cliff Retwell, because I'd get in fights with Flow Wrestling, and I would be a little mouthy and a little sassy, and I think it was just I've learned now that not everybody has to like my husband's wrestling style, and not everybody has to be a fan, and not everybody has to. I mean, really, they don't even have to, I guess, respect him. It's exhausting to feel like I had to control that, or I had to stand up for him every single time anybody commented something rude, or, So
yeah.
I wasted a lot of time just being like, oh, why are they saying this about Jason, or what is happening? And I'm like, Jason would always say, let my wrestling speak for itself. You don't need to do that. But I'm like, no, I'm on your team. I'm here to back you up. And, and then finally one day I kind of got lucky. When I moved to Nebraska, I had like the ultimate wrestling wife, I guess. What do they call them? WAG, the ultimate wrestling WAG. And
I've never heard that. I love that.
A WAG. And Lauren, she took me under her wing, and I kind of just learned from her, and she introduced me to Jessica Scott. And these two, I was like, okay, I love them. And Lauren is Grace, and she's, you know, she's so relaxed. And I was like, I need to be more like that. And then Jess Scott is just a firecracker, and I love her. And I was like, okay, all right, I can identify. Like, I can see that now. I can be that person too. But she is the kindest person ever. She, like, immediately was like, Abby, okay. And so, yeah, I got lucky with that, and I kind of learned my way through there. But I was really, in the beginning, I was super mouthy, where people kind of knew, like, Jason's wife was a little bit, well, I don't know, a lot, I guess.
I love that, though. I think we all kind of have our moments trying to defend or stick up for their, you know, integrity and honor.
Yeah.
And I can imagine having people on Flow commenting on that, being little, I like to call them internet trolls. And
yes.
I'm sure that could be very frustrating.
Oh, for sure. Well, especially when you're watching them put in all this work daily, where, I mean, there were times in college, it was, which I should say, college, being married young in college and having a baby was so, so hard. And I tell people all the time, I love it. I wouldn't change it. I'd also advise you not to have children in college. Wait. Because it is so hard. And we would gather up our baby, and we'd go to this track down the street, and he'd run, and I'd push her in the stroller. And we just do extra things like that, where I could see him just putting in the work. And then, yes, the internet trolls would come, and they'd say things, and I would be so defensive, because I'm like, you don't see what we're doing daily.
Yeah.
And for you to say things, it was so frustrating. But at this point, yeah, now I know, they don't know. They don't understand. They haven't been there. They don't get it.
Nope.
And they have their opinions, and they're going to say it, and I just have to, I don't get on Flow anymore, and I don't read anything, and I don't care. I'm like, okay, whatever. So.
Well, there's very few people in the world that can compete and train at that level. And I think that most of them don't have the time to be on the internet doing stuff like that. So the ones who really know how much time and effort and dedication and passion go into this sport, they don't have time to be on the internet. So you're not going to get the comment from the ones who are going to, you know, say real things and be respectful.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, that's true. That really is what it is the ones that don't have the idea, they want to be, what do they call them when they're, I don't know, like couch coaches? Is that what they call them? Where they think they know? Yeah, and you get that sometimes, or someone's like, yeah, I wrestled in junior high, and I know how it's supposed to be. And I'm like, okay. But, yeah, I think I've just learned that it doesn't matter, and just keep working at it and doing what you do. But it was hard. So
I can only imagine. I probably would have been very similar to you had I been dating Roper when he was wrestling. So I can imagine myself being very similar and feisty. So I like to say I would understand that. So what is something about Jason that most people do not know?
Oh, I kind of just, I don't know. So, no, he is going to kill me, but he's kind of nerdy. I love him. I don't know if he's still here, but he's very into, like, sci-fi fantasy things, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars. He loves to read sci-fi novels, like fantasy novels. Yeah. He has an inner bicep tattoo, and people often are like, what is that? Like, what language is that? And it is an Elvish from Lord of the Rings.
I love
And
that.
he doesn't tell people because he's like, I'm just going to let them guess, but it's Elvish writing. And sometimes we'll meet other people who actually recognize it. And I'm like, oh, one of your people, like they do. But he is very into that, and it's hilarious. I didn't know, like, the seriousness of it. But he can talk about it for hours. And if you get him started on anything like Star Wars or something, and he'll go on for a long time. And I'm like, all right, yep.
I
It's
love
funny.
that.
Oh, he's gonna kill me, but yeah, it's great. He's been really pumped, and he's gotten my daughter into it. So our oldest Violet is very into Star Wars and magic and wizards, and she loves it. She loves all of it, and so they are two peas in a pod, and they'll go to Star Wars movies, and he has a little pal that he can talk to about it now.
Oh, that is beautiful. I wish I could be a fly on the wall when they're watching their Star Wars or Harry Potter. I bet that is some cute conversation.
Very, very. And yeah, they'll say, Violet's like, Mom, what house are you in Harry Potter? I'm like, oh. But they're very serious about it. They love it.
That's so cute. Oh, man, I love that. Well, thank you, Abby. We appreciate having you on. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm excited to share this.